This is your tutorial for Google Sheets. There are tons of things that Google Sheets is capable of doing, and I'm just going to show you a few things to get you through the exam and a few things that you may or may not know. So with our Google Sheet, one thing that I want to show you before I go any further is a little bit about organization within the sheet. And down at the bottom, you can have multiple sheets. I kind of call them tabs at the bottom, and you can rename them and you can change their color on the bottom, kind of for a little bit better organization for you. You can also duplicate this sheet within the larger sheet that you're using, and then you can also kind of export it to a new spreadsheet. If you had just one individual sheet you wanted to share with someone, you could do that. So that's something that you may or may not have known or may or may not utilize. So I've just created a sample spreadsheet right here. The first thing we're going to talk about is filters. So if I wanted to be able to sort my data by school, by number, or by the date enrolled, I'm going to create a filter. So I'm going to select the rows that I want to filter and go to data and create a filter. So what this does is it kind of gives these little green arrow triangle things next to it to allow me to easily sort my data either by alphabetical order, reverse alphabetical order, smallest to largest, or most recent to oldest. So you can go through and sort all your columns. If you'll also notice, it brings that data with it every time. So CES has 15 devices that were enrolled on July 18th. If I go back in and sort that A to Z, I can see that that data traveled with CES, and it kind of keeps everything in your row together. So filtering is a great way to be able to sort your data the way that you want to look at it. Another thing that we can do is we can create filter views. So by doing that, we're going to go back to data and go to filter views. I'm going to do that first because I've already done this practicing one time. So under filter views, I'm going to do create new filter view. What this does is it kind of makes like some little screenshots that allows you to save your different views and share those. So let's say that I want to view this filter is going to be sorted by school name. So if I wanted to share this filter, I could come up here and copy my URL and send it to someone, and they're going to view my sheet in this view. I can also go back, close out of that one, and I can see my school name filter right there. I can do a new filter view, and I'm going to sort these by date enrolled, and I'm going to say newest, so that my newest group is enrolled at the top. Again, I could click this unique URL and share it to someone. And so then if I go back to data and filter views, I can see my two filter views that I created right there. I can then delete all of them too if I want to, and then they go away. So this would be something you would use if you had like a really, really large group of data. Probably not really applicable to this spreadsheet. So let's talk a little bit about formatting now. So there is something called conditional formatting that allows you to be able to format the way that your group is. So I'm going to go to format and conditional formatting. So one thing that we can do is we can set some rules. So if you had taken a Google form, and it was a test for your students, and you wanted to be able to color scale their grades, this is where you could do that at. So I'm going to sort it for this range. And I'm going to say that if it is less than or equal to 25, I'm going to let my color be that one. Okay, so if you were going to do, another range, like if you were going to do your grades, like, from a 59 and below, 69 to 60, you could do that. And then I'm just going to add another rule that says if it's less than or equal to 50, we're going to change that color to be a different color. Add another rule, less than or equal to 75, and change that color. Oh, and I should have done another one. Less than or equal to 100. That's going to, I think, complete my chart. So now I can see that all of my grades or numbers are highlighted in different colors, and you could have done, more contrasting information to be able to see your filters. So if you ever wanted like color code a sheet by grades, we would go to conditional formatting to do that. And then when you can manually do it as well, and then you could also sort this way and be able to see your kind of colors in order. But that was just a way that you could see it where it wasn't sorted. Now, let's also say we're going to send this to someone and we want to make sure that they cannot edit anything of it. Of course, we could share it and, do those permissions where it's view only. But if we need them to be able to contribute to something, but we don't want to mess up our original formatting, or we want to make sure a column is protected, we can protect either certain parts of the sheet, and we can actually protect the whole sheet. So let's say that I am going to send this to the school and I want them to confirm their numbers, but I don't want them to accidentally delete my column A. So I'm going to go to column A, and I'm going to go to, here it is, data and protect sheets and ranges. So for I could either do the entire sheet, which is this one, or I can do a range entered in right here. I'm going to do A1 through A15. And I'm going to set the permissions that either show a warning whenever they're editing this, or edit where only I can change that. And so now if I send this to someone and I want them to be able to edit these numbers, they cannot change those school names. Those are set. I could also protect the entire sheet if I wanted them to be able to do that as well. So let me see. And then finally, we can take this data and we can export it to a chart. So I'm going to highlight my list right here, and we're going to go to Insert, Chart, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So here it generates a chart. I can control what type of chart I see. I can do a line graph, different things like that. It's a little bit all over the place because I didn't design the spreadsheet to really be able to track progress. And you can also set what your different axes are. Let me do this. Delete this one. And just do these two columns. So this is showing number versus school. And so I have a bar graph of every one of my schools and their numbers of Chromebooks. And then you can always customize your chart. You can change the background color. You can edit and almost click anywhere and change the titles and the numbers and things like that. Finally, you can actually download this chart as a PDF or a PNG file. You can publish the chart. You can move it to its own sheet, like I did here, and be able to just use that chart. So I have looked for tons of free chart makers online, and Google Sheets is really one of the better ways that I have found to make charts. So this could be, I did this with 6th graders whenever I taught technology classes, and they were able to independently make charts. So they did that very well on their own. And that is what you need to know about Google Sheets.